Welcome, everyone. The Undiscussable Schedule and Information. Carbondale United mission statement and upcoming events. We have the Southern Illinois activists and mentors today here to answer your tough questions. We'll discuss we have the Southern Illinois activists and mentors today here to answer your tough questions. Sorry about that, y'all. And we'll discuss questions received through the registration and the survey, as well as questions asked live by the audience. Carbondale United mission to provide an avenue of healing and community safety through awareness, education, and activism. Our goals are to eliminate gun violence and racism from our neighborhoods and to provide events that are inclusive and diverse. Stay in touch. Facebook.com. Create a Better Community 15 on Facebook. And our email address is carbondaleunited15@gmail.com. Here are our upcoming events. Tomorrow we will have It's Time to Unite, a virtual open mic poetry night. It starts at 6 p.m. The theme is racism and healing. For more information, contact Nancy Maxwell at 618-306-5885. And we will also have door prizes and first, second, and third place winners for the poetry. On the next Thursday, March 25th, 2021, at 6 p.m., we will have Talk That Talk. Come and learn the proper tools and tips to help increase your skills in public speaking. You can register at carbondalepubliclibrary.org. Have a question? We're here to discuss your questions. Use the Q&A function to submit your question. Submit your question anonymously by selecting the Send Anonymously option. You can also submit questions on Facebook live stream. Note that you cannot submit questions anonymously on Facebook. And here are some crisis resources. If you or someone you care about feels overwhelmed with emotions like sadness, depression, or anxiety, or like you want to harm yourself or others, please call 911 or one of the national crisis resources below. And we will show this briefly throughout the program should you need help. Meet your panelists. We have Stephen L. Tarver Sr., Walter A. Davis III, Stephanie Fraction, Gary Whitfield, and Nancy Maxwell.
All right. Hey, listen, I'm not Stephen, I'm Daryl Wimberly. And thank you all for joining us. At first, I wasn't going to be able to make it, but I wanted to take this opportunity. Again, I am the Dean of Students at Marion High School. I've held this position for 18 years. I've coached football at Marion High School for 20 years, and I've coached basketball for 14 years. And I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. But what I wanted to talk to you about is motivation and method. I want to talk about my childhood. They said picture's worth 1,000 words. If you look at the picture there, looks like a Christmas tree in the background, and you got some guy, I don't know who that is, chinning and grinning and all that stuff, showing his teeth, and his outfit's jacked up from the floor up. But there's a guy in there, is my stepdad. And so he was, unfortunately, he was my mom's choice, not mine. He would beat my mom several different times. I mean, it was a recurring thing. And so I'm saying this to you because just to let you know, you can overcome anything that you go through, but you have to use your negative things in your life as motivation. And this man here, William T. Kelly, was my motivation. Because if you look over there, the method, God blessed me to play football. And I use football to channel all my negative energy, all my hate, all my anger towards my stepdad to be a better person. Because what I would do is I would see my opponent and I would do everything I could, because I would think about my stepdad. I would think about all the things I couldn't control. And I just unleashed on people, and I was just trying to knock people out. And my point is, I had a coach that cared about me, and he said, look, Slim, you can't just go knocking people out. You're going to have purpose. You're going to have to do within our system. Okay. And so what I had to do was I had to be a coachable person. And so the method, what I want to share with you in growing up, I did not have all the positive things in the environment. I grew up in Carter Homes in Louisville, Kentucky. It's a project area, and we had food stamps, okay? I'm not talking about link card. I'm talking about food stamps, the actual food stamps, the $5 food stamp, $1 food stamp. But I say that to say this, guys. I am very blessed to build relationships. The 18 years I've been at Marion High School and the 20 years I've been coaching football, my number one priority is building relationships with our students. God has blessed me to know about 90% of our students by name, okay? And we have about 1,100 students enrolled here. To God be the glory for that. But the whole purpose behind that is that I can build relationships. So my childhood wasn't the greatest, but I did become an all-state football player just because I listened to someone that wasn't my father. My biological father never was in my life. So I'm saying that to you is whatever happens, if your father's not in your life, you can still make it. If your mom is an alcoholic, you can still make it. You have to choose, okay? It's the motivation and it's the method. Thank you, guys.
I guess I'll go next. I was going to see if Stephanie wanted to go, but I'll go next. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephen Tarver. I'm the president of Men of Power, Women of Strength. And high school, what a trip. Talking with our 5th through 8th graders yesterday, I mentioned that right around the 6th grade is when I started drifting. I was one of the smartest kids in the 6th grade as I went up to collect all of these awards at our end of the year ceremony. But by the time I got to the 8th grade, I had started to drifting into drugs, gangs, sex, anything that I thought my little grown self can do. As I entered high school, it was really a big challenge because in my high school, in my 9th grade year, we had over 400 students in our class. That's a very large school for me, coming from Cairo and Klondike. So it was an adjustment. And I started skipping. I started missing classes. I started enjoying the wrong crowd. And I got involved, as I mentioned, into gangs. Unfortunately, I flunked the 10th grade. And that was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. My mother was a true trooper, and she stayed on me and she did her best. But you know how it is when we think we're grown at that age? Yes, we think we're grown, but we don't know it all. So it took me to flunk to realize that I was wasting time. One of the things that I begged my mother to do for me was to transfer me, get me out of that school, because I was a class clown. I disrupted class. I was smart and I could pass the test when it came time for it, but I was messing up everybody else's education process by cracking jokes, passing notes, all these other crazy things that happens in the classroom. But my mother told me on that day, she said, no, sir, you will return right back to the school and you will repeat the grade in which you flunked. That was tremendously terrible. I went right back to Westside High School and I repeated all the classes that I skipped, all the classes that I played in. And it was sad because all of my friends went on and they saw me every day and they passed me and they talked about me and I became the joke. So it was a learning experience that I buckled down, man, and I got into those books. By the time I got to the 11th grade, though, I realized that the environment that I was in was not good. Gary, Indiana was murder capital of the world for maybe 10 straight years. It listed in the top 5 as the most notorious cities to be raised in. So what I decided was that I had to make some changes in my life that would affect the way that I came out. I realized that at that time, it was only one way to go. Either you was going to participate in the streets or you was going to try to get into your career field. I started going into ROTC in my junior year of high school. And that was tremendous for me because it started teaching me discipline. Even though I was still rough and rugged, I started to learn how to dress right, iron my clothes, get my shoes shined, listen to orders, listen to authority, things of that type. So by the time I got into my junior year, I was able to go into into the Army Reserves. The Army Reserves allowed me to go into basic training in Fort Jackson, my junior year my summertime. And then I returned back for my senior year of high school. And then immediately after graduation, I was shipped to West Germany to begin my 4 years in the United States Army. I hated the Army. To me, the Army was organized slavery, but it gave me a way to get out of Gary, Indiana. And I learned so much as far as going out into the world. What I want you guys to understand is this. A lot of times we start off on the wrong foot. Doesn't count you out. Just means that you got a lot of catching up to do. As I returned back from the service, I realized that, man, mama was great. Mothers are the best thing that you can have. If you have a mother right now, you better cherish her to the fullest. Whatever she's telling you, she's not trying to hurt you. She's trying to better you. Never buck up against your mother. Whatever you do in life, you have to cherish and love her to the fullest because she brought you into this world. And she understands that this world can be tough. I used to say my mother was square. She didn't understand what we were facing. She didn't understand what we were going through. But as I got older and we began to talk more, she had it pretty much the same way that we did. Not to the level that I went through, but yes, they had bullying. Yes, they didn't have everything that they wanted. They were teased. Yes, they grew up in the country. So, they didn't have all the finer things in life. But she had morals and she had integrity and she had values, which she instilled into me. So even though I strayed off and I did what I thought was right, I eventually came back to reality. And that's where we are today, in reality. So a lot of you guys may feel counted out. You may feel like you made so many mistakes that you can't catch back up. As long as you are fighting, you have a chance. Never count yourself out as long as you have breathing, as long as you are able to breathe. This group that we're introducing you today, this Undiscussable event is geared for you guys to be able to tell us what you're going through. That was one of the things that helped me because I had a mentor that I was able to pour into. And I didn't hesitate. Any problems that I had, I brought it to him and I was able to lay it out in the terms in which it was no doubt on what my problem was. If he didn't help me with it, he found me help. If he couldn't find me help, we searched until we were able to get it. And he made sure that the problem was taken care of before I went on. That's the same thing I'm hoping that we can do for you guys. As we continue with this program, hopefully you guys will be able to open up, tell us what you're going through, and help us to help you solve your problems. It doesn't have to be as dramatic as what we're going through or what we've been through. It could be as simple as not fitting in, not feeling that you're able to do the work, not feeling that you're athletic. Anything can cause a child to go off course. We want to make sure that you stay on path to be successful. Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Steve. Hi, guys. My name is Stephanie Fraction. Also on as an entertainer, I go by A New Day. And basically, my years as a high school student, I have to be honest, I started off high school as a teenage mother. I had a daughter when I was in the 9th grade. I was 14. I was about to turn 15. I had her 10 days before my 15th birthday. When I was about in the 5th or 6th grade, maybe a little younger, my parents split up. And me and my dad were really, really close. And he was like my best guy in the whole wide world. He was everything to me. And when my parents split up and I was unable to see my father the way that I had in the past, and he wasn't in our life as much as he had been, as I had always known him to be, I started looking for love in the wrong places. I started looking towards guys and different people. Whoever would show me attention, I'd accept it because I just wanted to be loved and to feel that love that I felt I had in relationship I felt I had with my father. But when you're young and you don't understand relationships, people can take advantage of you and you get yourself hooked up and you can get caught up in situations that you're not actually ready for. At 14 years old, I was not ready to be a mother. And because I was not ready to be a mother and I came from a poor family and we didn't have a lot of resources, I struggled a lot. I struggled a lot. I struggled a lot in high school. I struggled a lot even as a young adult. I still struggled because I was a young adult with a at 18 I had a 5-year-old. Well, no, at 20 I already had a 5-year-old. So I had a lot of raising of myself to do, and I had to raise this kid I had now. So as a lot of high school stuff I missed out on. I wasn't able to hang out with my friends the same way as I would have. I didn't go to all like the proms and the different events that would be going on at school because I had other responsibilities at home. Now, if you're already a teenage mother, you can get through this. And there are different programmings and different things around in this area that can help you. You can reach out to this group. You can reach out to myself and I can give you, with your parents' permission, we could talk and sit down and maybe come up with a plan about how to further yourself and the things that you want to do. One thing that I realized after I had my daughter was what I didn't have was a plan. And when you don't have a plan, you get very caught off guard. You don't know which direction you're going, so you'll accept anything that's available. So the first thing that I would suggest as a young person is to get a plan. Decide what you're excited about and start working on it. If you know what a vision board is, get that paper and that pen out and write out some things that you really want in life. You're old enough, it's time to get serious about life. Make sure that you're getting good grades because you can apply for scholarships. If you're getting good grades through the ninth and the 12th grade, sign up for all these different activities and things that you can be a part of. I didn't understand that as a teenager. I didn't have anyone in my life that was telling me to, rooting for me or saying be a part of anything. I was kind of just on my own and I had to raise myself. So one thing that I would say, if you're in that type of position, don't be afraid to take control of your life. If you're in a situation where you know that maybe mom is not able to help you and dad may not be around or dad's around and he's not able to help, or you're just in a position where you feel like you're by yourself, start reaching out to your counselors, reach out to your principal, find a woman or someone in your city that you think that can deal with your situation or that can help you in your situation and start talking to them about what's going on. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That was my biggest mistake. I was so embarrassed about being a teenage mother. I was so embarrassed about my situation, about being poor and the things I was going through. I never knew that I could really reach out for help. So as a young adult, I just went through life just trying to figure things out. And we're telling you that we are the help that you guys can reach out to. And so as life went on, I did have a few more challenges in my life. I started hooking up with the wrong people and I ended up in a spiral of hooking up with the wrong people. And later on, I even landed myself in prison, someplace I never thought that I would be. That's where I ended up. But I even overcame that as well. And I became a preschool teacher. So what I want you guys to know that if you're able to overcome all kinds of different situations, I overcame teenage pregnancy, I overcame being incarcerated, and I'm a very well-rounded individual. I'm a preschool teacher. I love my job. People love to be around me, and I do everything that I can now to help people that were like myself. So that's a little bit about me. And the next person will come on and tell you about their self and their teenage experience.
I think that we have a couple more panelists who will be joining us shortly, but they are not in the room yet. So we could go ahead and start with some of the questions. Yolanda, I think you've got some questions that have been sent in by teens.
Diana, you skipped me. I was coming.
All right, I'm waiting for you.
Yolanda,
Yes.
they skipped me.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Nancy.
That's okay. Okay, so here I am again. Um, High school, a place that I went to for 2 months because I decided I didn't need a high school education. I was going to have this baby, and me and my boyfriend were going to get married, and we were going to work at McDonald's, and we was going to have this White House and another kid and live happily ever after. Unfortunately, that fairy tale did not work out. Um, I ended up having a baby all by myself. I don't know where Prince Charming was. Um, we did not have the White House that I thought we would. I ended up staying quite a few places with my baby. My baby slept in a drawer at the beginning. I did work at McDonald's, but I found out I could not live off McDonald money and take care of a child. And I was hoping that somebody would help me out, but everybody decided to give me tough love. And I'm gonna tell you, I was mad, I was upset. I'm like, don't nobody love me, won't nobody help me. But I'll tell you today, I'm so glad I got that tough love. I used to go to school with a backpack, a baby thing, a baby bag, a stroller, and I was in Chicago and get on the CTA bus, take the baby to the babysitter, and then go to school. Because my mother said I made my bed hard, I was gonna have to lie in it, and I laid in that bed for real. Um, I decided I was scared to go back to school, but eventually I did go get my GED test, and my sister, my oldest sister, was my biggest cheerleader. She was on my case. Every time I seen that lady, I promise you, she was like, "Did you go get your DED? Have you got a license yet? I don't. You don't want to work at McDonald's all your life, do you?" She had a whole script. Every time I seen her, even if I hid, she would wait till she seen me before she left to tell me that. And at the time, I thought it was so annoying. But now I'm so grateful that she did that. Because I went and took that GED. I went to the class. I signed up for the class, and the teacher said, "Hey, take the test, and we're going to see how many points you get and where your weak spots at." And I took the test and I passed it. And I was so amazed. I was so proud that my kids got to see me walk across the stage in my cap and gown. Because, yes, I had one, then I had another one. But none of that stopped me. If it wasn't for the people in the community, like I said before, my sister and other mothers in the community, I was so upset when I got pregnant with the second baby. And this lady that lived down the street from me, she said, "Baby, I had two babies in 1 year." I'm like, "What?" She said, "I had one in January and one in December." Yes, it's possible. She said, "But I had the ability to keep going even with them two babies. You can keep going with them two babies. And anybody out there that is suffering from teen pregnancy or any other things, you can turn your life around. The choice is always yours." Because I had those before I had the two kids, and my parents, my mother had a mental health, my daddy was an alcoholic. I was so stressed out, I started drinking. So now I'm drinking. Then I get pregnant. I drop out of school. Then I have another baby. Excuse me. But all that didn't stop me. It was people in my life that came in my life and helped me. So today, I want to say we, Carbondale United, and all the groups up under us that work together, we're rebuilding the village because the village is important. So if it's somebody that you need to talk to, you can reach out to our email, and somebody will contact you back because we're working toward this goal to be that village in the community again, to be that person that you can reach out and talk to and get some help. Because if it wasn't for those mothers in my neighborhood and my older sister being my support team, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. I have one, two, three, 4 degrees, and I work at the Women's Center. I'm the criminal justice for NAACP. I'm the director of Carbondale United. None of that could have happened if I would have stayed on the path that I was on. But somebody showed me a better path. And that's the path I end up following. So, if again, if you need help, if you need someone to talk to, the number is on the screen. You can email us. We have a Facebook page. Reach out to us. And next, we have Dominique Miller to talk to you as well.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I grew up in the inner city, Chicago, Illinois. My background is a little different. My mom was a young single mom. My mom had me at 19 years old. She was kind of giving some tough love, like people had projected that my mom would be a mother of 10 kids. My mom only has one biological child. She holds two master's degrees and is working on her PhD. But in the midst of that, she was able to get married to a wonderful man that took very good care of us. And I know sometimes when we deal with blended families, it can bring on stresses of its own, because sometimes as kids, we can feel like daddy's being taken away from me, or mommy's being taken away from me, and mommy doesn't love me as much because she's focused on this guy. And so we can tend to bring out behaviors that weren't normally there before. And so I went through some of those growing pains of not necessarily acting out, but just trying to find my place in the family. And so I'm fortunate he was a loving dad to me. Took very good care of me. And even in the midst of that, I was able to create a great bond, because my biological dad wanted nothing to do with me. And there's nothing worse than being rejected by your own family member. And so sometimes when you are rejected as well, you feel like it's your fault. You feel like you've done something wrong. But I'm here to tell you that even in the midst of being rejected by a family member, a loved one, someone that's supposed to love you, that you can still make it and you can still overcome. Unfortunately, for me, my dad ended up dying the year after I graduated high school. So when I graduated college, when I got married, he wasn't there in those moments for me, but I was still able to hold on to the memories that I had with him. And I'm forever grateful because so many times, especially in today's society, we don't always have men that are willing to step up and raise and take care of a child that may not biologically be theirs. And so I'm forever grateful for that. Now, growing up in the city of Chicago, as most people know or may have heard, Chicago may be viewed and looked at as a rough city. I went to one of the roughest high schools in the city of Chicago, but I was able to go to high school and college at the same time. Why? Because I understood what my purpose was. I understood why my parents were sending me there. You have choices, young people. You don't have to follow the crowd. You don't have to gang bang. There were people in school that wanted to achieve something. So I chose to hang with those people, all while keeping the quote unquote, air quotes, bad people on my good side in case I needed, protection or something. But I was able to graduate high school at 16, graduated high school and college, and then went on later in life to obtain my bachelor's degree. And so now currently I work in healthcare and as an entrepreneur. And so, guys, I'm sharing this information with you to say that anything is possible. The only person that's stopping you is you. Whatever you put your mind to, you can do. There are people on this panel that believes in you. And there are people that want to see you achieve and succeed. And so that pretty much sums up what I have fast on, Mr. Walter Davis. So again, I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself. I'm Dominique Miller. I am a mom of three. I am married to a pastor, and I get the privilege and honor of serving in the wonderful city of Cairo, Illinois. I do currently work for the Marion VA. So guys, if you are a high school student and you are interested in shadowing or just seeing what it's like to work in the healthcare industry, our summer internship program is getting ready to start. So you can reach out to me and I will direct you to where you need to go. I am a two-time author, published author, and a speaker and motivational coach. So I'm sorry I did it backwards, but I was rushing in. So that's all that I have to add. Thank you, Mr. Steve, for this wonderful platform.
Next, we have Walter Davis.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Walter Davis. I am originally from Orlando, Florida. Came here to Carbondale, Illinois when I was like about 10 years old. My mom and dad separated when I was about 10, and all my mom family is from this area. So I've been here ever since. April 3rd, I'll be 52. I currently work at SIU as an academic advisor, administrative professional. I've been with the university for 11 years. I completed my undergrad, my bachelor's and master's from SIU. My paper for my master's was on how to, creating a college prep program for athletes in high school, because a lot of times athletes in high school don't know the whole process of trying to get to college and compete at a higher level. And so I wrote about and created a college prep program for athletes to go to college from high school. And it was a great paper. And it's helped a lot of athletes figure out the process from high school on to college. Like I said, I currently work at SIU. I'm a motivational speaker. I love talking to young students and just basically try to inspire them and motivate them to understand that anything is possible. I always say you have the power to do anything you want to do, but it starts right here mentally in your mind. And if you can believe it in your mind, you have the power to do it. And I'm gonna break down power real quick. Power to me is the P starts with preparation. You got to prepare every day to do your best. And when you don't do your best and you fail, you look at what you did wrong and try to do better every day. And so you have to prepare every day for any goals that you want to accomplish. If you're going to college, if you want a career, my biggest goal for me was to lose weight. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure. I was at 290. I lost 100 pounds. And I started preparing my mind every day to get in the gym and work out. So first, empower. In order to have that power, you got to prepare yourself and you got to push yourself every day out of your comfort zone to do better. The O, empower, is you have to be organized. You have to write things down. You have to organize your mind, organize and prioritize your day in order to make sure that you are doing exactly what you need to do to accomplish the things that you need to accomplish. And so there's a time for everything, a time for homework, a time for yourself, a time to work out, a time for family, a time for friends. You have to prioritize that time and not cheat that time when it comes to your homework or when it comes time to family, and make sure that it's all organized. And the more you learn how to do that and organize each and every day of your life, then it helps you prepare to get the job done. And then the W, empower, is you got to work. You can't cut corners. You can't cheat. You got to put in the time and work every day. And that's how I lost 100 pounds. I put in the work every day. Now I'm trying to gain muscle and gain strength. But you got to work. Once you prepare and organize, you got to work at it every day. You got to build a work ethic. You know, I heard a motivational speaker say, what does your work ethic look like? If your work ethic resembles your credit score, then you're not working, you know? And so if your work ethic, if your credit score is a 400 or a 300, then your work ethic, you're not working. But if your work ethic is an 800, 700, you put in the work, then when you look at your credit score, you can almost at a 700 or 800 go into any store you want, buy a car, get a house, and do the things that you need to do, but you got to work. The E in power is you got to evaluate each and every day. You got to look in the mirror, not just brush your teeth, not just wash your face, comb your hair, but you got to evaluate yourself and look at yourself every day to push yourself to do what you need to do. And then the R is rethink. You got to rethink some things sometimes when you're not accomplishing your goals. So, you know, that's just a little tidbit that I wanted to share with you, that you have the power to do anything that you want to do, but you got to prepare, organize, work, evaluate, and rethink. I'm at the university, Walter Davis. You can get on the website and Google academic advisor through the website at SIU. Pull me up if you have any questions about college, athletes, or anything. Just let me know. It was good talking to you. Appreciate everyone for giving me the opportunity to speak, and thank you for your time. And keep pushing and keep grinding because you got the power.
Hey guys, I've been listening to you and I have a question. We're getting ready to graduate soon. I'm not looking into going into college and I don't want to serve in the military. How can you advise me to transition from high school to adulthood? Because I know I can't survive on a McDonald's check either.
A lot of
Well,
That's a
times,
question
I
for
like
you.
to ask. Okay. Go ahead.
I was gonna say a lot of times when you're in high school, they have different type of trade-in schools or trade schools that'll gear you towards a specific type of a job you want. Me myself, I when I left high school, I went to Job Corps and I got a lot of good training and a lot of good services from there. They do a lot of different on hand type of training. I worked for the government for a few years through Job Corps. They do nursing and different programs like that. So I would suggest looking into a trade school or an apprenticeship that is specifically geared towards what it is that you want to do.
To follow up, Stephanie, I would say that you need to find out what your skill or talent is. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go search for a job, but you can create your own job and max out in what you like to do. One thing about work is that you'll never do what you don't want to do. So just going to find a job is not going to be your answer. You want to find something that you're good at, something that you love, and something that you're compassionate about, and then build your dreams and make your vision come so plain that you're the boss, you're the CEO, you create your own future.
I also would like to add to that, if you're in this area, Mantricon has a program where you can become an apprenticeship. You could do an apprenticeship rather, and then you could try different careers out. You can try something out and see if you like it. It's a paid apprenticeship, so you get work experience plus you receive a salary pretty similar to the person that's actually working the job for the company itself. So Matricon is a very good resource that you can turn to.
Okay. And it's almost embarrassing to admit this, but all I've learned about finances from my family is we just never had enough money. So I don't know how to make a budget, how to live off my budget. I don't know where to start about a credit score or anything. How can I go or where can I go to learn how to pay bills?
That definitely is a good question. None of us, I know I didn't growing up, have an idea of how to budget or what to do with money because we were poor. So growing up right now in these days, you guys have access to so much technology that you can almost Google anything that you want to find out. Also, there's a lot of organizations right now that are looking to reach out to you youngsters about finances. We realize that you have more access. There's so much going on. So we're starting to try to look at ways that we can get you guys programs to understand that finances need to start now. You need to be thinking about saving. You need to be thinking about stocks and bonds, ways to make your money work when you're not working. So um, search around in your neighborhood, search around in different organizations. Also reach back out to us. We're going to probably get something together that will reach and talk about finances for you.
Hey, Steve, just to piggyback off of that, I know SIU Credit Union, they offer classes to the youth. I know that when I first arrived on college campus, they used to try to entice you to apply for a credit card and they'll give you a free 2 liter. Well, now that has become illegal. The motto that I use is, which creditors won't always tell you, is to only use 10% of whatever you can afford to pay back. So if you have a credit card and your limit is $500, don't max out your credit card. And if it's an emergency and you happen to do it, because we've all been at this place, never pay your credit card on the day that it's due. You always pay your credit card on the day that the cycle ends, because that's what they report to the credit reports. They don't report, they also report what the balance is and then what you have left over. But that's how your credit score is balanced, and you earn points based on what you have available versus what you spent. And then you also have to look at your income. I know it was always my dream to purchase my first home before 30. And we were able to do that. But also, you need to look at your overall salary or look at what you're bringing in overall, and don't spend 60% on housing. It has to be budget friendly. I can email Nancy some worksheets. I know Dave Ramsey, he has a whole program geared around youth and children, but I do know locally that SIU Credit Union offers a program.
I would also say,
And,
and that's also,
uh,
I'm sorry.
oh,
Go
and to
ahead.
follow up on that, SIU does have at the SIU incubator, they do have a program where you can learn how to start your own business. And to follow up on what everybody else is saying, you can Google like how to budget, a budget worksheet. When I started at SIU, we only get paid once a month. And so I had to budget all my bills for that whole month from that one paycheck. So I had to really learn how to budget everything and extend what I had left over for that whole month. But I found a budget sheet that was online. I looked at all of my expenses, everything that was coming in, and then I budgeted what was left over for that whole month. One of the things that we don't talk about a lot is entrepreneurship, starting your own business, and getting around people that have their own business and learn how to um, start your own business and what they done. A lot of times the people that we hang around with are sometimes broke, don't have money, and they in the same boat we in. So we can't learn from one another. It's like the blind leading the blind. But if you get around people who have started their own business, or talk to people who have created their own ideas and how they started their own business or wrote their own book and different things like that, you will get a lot of new ideas on how to do it. So if you don't want to go to school and different things like that, then look into entrepreneurship, starting your own business. But as the panelists also said, we are in a technology world where you can just Google everything, go to YouTube, it'll show you how to do everything. So you have the power in your hands to do it. You just got to sometimes put yourself around the right people and look up the right resources in order to know how to do it.
Okay. Um, some of you talked about this already when you were introducing yourself, but I did something I'm not real proud of, and now everybody knows about it. What are some steps or strategies I can use to get through this? Because now all I see is dark days.
One thing I would say is that if you did something that you're ashamed of or that you're not proud of, and first off, if you're feeling lonely or depressed or like you're going to hurt yourself or anything of that nature, then definitely talk to someone. Tell somebody that you trust, tell a counselor, talk to somebody about it. If you're just embarrassed because your friends know about what you did, let me tell you, there's going to be a lot of embarrassing moments in life. Um, if you don't like the things that you did and you're embarrassed about them, sometimes we just have to live with the things that we've done and we have to learn from them and do better the next time. So sometimes the things that we've done that put ourselves out there to make ourselves not feel like like how we would want to, we have to present ourselves in a way that we would want to be seen. So we do make mistakes and you can turn around those mistakes. It's not over there. You just have to turn it around and do better the next time and not worry about. I know it's easy to say, but I've been bullied or I've had people talk about me. I was a teenage mother. I was 14 with a babe, with pregnant in high school. So believe me, people talked about me. You have to toughen up and get tough skin sometimes, especially if you're doing stuff that you know you don't have any business doing.
And as I mentioned, I flunked the 10th grade. So can you imagine going back to school and being around all your friends, the ones you grew up with, and they know everything about you, but they also know that you stayed a year behind. So the first couple of weeks of that really was tough on me. But I realized that it was choices that I made that put me in that situation. So as I mentioned before, I thought I was grown. It was time to act grown. So what? You made a mistake. Your chances now is that you have to gather yourself, regroup, figure out where you made the mistake. But the key is to show them that you are still here. Never count yourself out, never go into a hibernation phase like I used to do. Just go back out, shine, and be the best that you can be. And believe me, once you shine, they'll forget about your mistakes and start bragging about your successes.
Okay. Um, I want you to remember that I'm a teenager and my friends are starting to do things that I'm not necessarily comfortable with. They're joining gangs, they're going to places I don't want to go, but I want to keep my friends. How can I still be me and be productive and not get caught up and not lose my friends too?
What
That is
what
also a great question. Go ahead, Walter.
no one thing I would say is you have to learn the difference between friends and associates. A lot of times we have people around us who are just associates, just people that we know. But you would know who your true friends are. When things get down, things seem tough, and them friends are, disappearing and not around, then you know who your true friends are. And if you see your friends doing things and it's in your gut, you know you shouldn't be doing, then you might have to separate yourself from them type of friends because them might just be associates. And so, always value who you are. Set standards for yourself. Set principles for yourself that you want to accomplish. And when you see friends or different people doing things that's wrong, shouldn't be doing, then you have to separate yourself and be a stronger person. For example, I had went out with me and two other guys, and they were drinking. I was the designated driver. So the guy gave me his keys and he said, "You're going to drive tonight because we're going to drink." I said, "Okay, cool." So when we were leaving, he wanted his keys back. I said, "No, you have been drinking. I'm not going to give you your keys. I'm the designated driver." So he wanted to argue with me over his keys. So I gave him his keys and told him I'm not getting in the car with him. I had to make a decision that I wasn't going to get in the car with somebody that had been drinking. I would rather walk home and be safe than to get in the car with somebody that was drinking and mess around and have an accident and we all die. And he wound up giving me the keys. I drove everybody home. And the next day he came up to me and he really said, I appreciate you standing up to me and not allowing me to drive the way I was. And we made it home safe. So sometimes you have to, make a tough stand in life when it comes to friends, and understand that some friends are just associates. They're not really friends.
Is it possible we could put a definition to the word or the phrase systemic racism and then talk about what I can do as a teenager to help right this injustice?
Systemic racism. Systemic racism to me means that there's a process put into place that holds certain individuals down. If you know your history, you'll realize that most of us African Americans, back in the early part of America, we were not even considered a whole human. They were saying 3/4 of a man and all this other kind of crazy crap. But now, as you understand, we as African Americans have donated so much and contributed so much to the way we live right now, as far as inventions, universities, education in a whole. So there's nothing that can hold you back except the system. But what you have to do is you have to understand how the system works. And you can do that by researching. Uh, Learn your history. Learn more about where you came from, more about how you got there, more about the struggle that it took for your ancestors to go through to get you to where you are today. And then once you learn that, you'll have a better understanding on that you have to continue to fight to make things right. Once you understand the system and how it was set up, you can actually form your own opinions. You can form your own purpose, and you can focus on how you can go up against this wild and crazy world and fight the different systems that were designed to hold you back. But I believe that understanding your history, understanding what you want to do and where you want to go, and then just applying yourself to the fullest to go against things that are still used to keep us unequal and keep us on the wrong side of justice, it can be accomplished just by you making a difference and understanding what you need to do.
I would also add that taking on different roles and jobs and learning different jobs and opportunities in fields that aren't filled by people that are directly affected by systemic racism, finding those type of jobs and gearing yourself towards those jobs that include being different type of lawyers, or just finding the different type of avenues in the places where we don't have a lot of people that are being affected by systemic racism, and then filling those areas.
And I would just add too that it's also important that when you become a registered voter, that you exercise your right to vote, and that you build relationships with your elected officials. And I believe that this next generation is a generation that's going to hold everybody accountable. You guys are looking for accountability. You guys are looking for authenticness in people across the board. So it's very vital that you become familiar with organizations like Carbondale United, like Men of Power, Women of Strength, because that's where these conversations take place, and then they can help you to get out in the forefront, because I know everybody doesn't like to speak in front of people, but being a part of organizations like this can build the momentum for that.
Okay, can I add to that? Dominique just said that sometimes you don't like to speak out in front of people. One of our upcoming events, which is next Thursday, is free to the public. You can register at the library. It's Talk That Talk, and it's to give you some instructions and guidance about speaking publicly. So please, if that's something you're interested in, please join us next week and talk that talk.
Okay. Um, Everybody talks about how horrible the youth is today. But is there really a major difference between teenagers of today and teenagers from when you guys were teenagers?
I would say no. The only difference is that you guys have a lot more access and to technologies than we had. Um, you guys are facing something that if you did something today, it could be spread overnight and over 1 million people would know about it. Where when I did wrong, it'd take about 2 months for it to get through the city, and I could kind of get myself together by then. Um, Teenagers all have the same desires. You want to be loved, you want to be friends, you want to be popular, you want to be in the group, you want to be athletic, you want to be grown before your time. So we all went through the same things. It's just how do we approach them and how do we get help to become adults? So yes, what you guys are going through now is nothing new under the sun. That's why we're hoping that this group will allow you to show you that yes, we've been through the storms and we don't want you to go through them knowing that you don't have help. And we actually want to help you not go through storms. So if you're thinking about something that's negative or thinking about something that you have a question about, ask first before you step out on the limb, because that can save you a lot of pain and a lot of problems in your future.
I personally don't think much has changed as far as the difference between us being teenagers and you all, except for the like Steve said, what is the ability to use the internet and the access of having things at your fingertips, something that we were not, that was not available to us at our time. And I know a lot of us would probably say, I wish we would have had the internet that available to us at this is a great time to be alive, guys. It's a great time to be alive. You have so many resources and things at your fingertips that you can use to be whoever you want to be and to get things accomplished. You can text me right now and I'm going to get it in 5 seconds. We didn't have that. You had to walk to somebody's house, hopefully, or call them if they had a phone. So no, not a lot has changed in the manner of people, but a lot has changed in the manner of technology and what you're capable of. So what I would say is to use that to your advantage, to your biggest advantage. If you want to do something, we'll help you figure out how to research certain things, because it's good to have it at your fingertips. But if you don't know how or what to research, then you could still be a little lost. But just know that we're available to you to help you learn how to research certain things, get your mindset on what you want to do, and we're right there. We'll be right there. It's a lot of help available to you these days, and like I said, at the touch of your fingertips. So use it. Use what you have available.
Okay. The last question I have, guys, is everything as far as resources and groups and things of value are in Carbondale or in Marion. How can I get some things in Cairo?
Trust me, I feel your pain. But this is the answer. We have one of the greatest resources, which is void. Here in Cairo, what you don't realize is that anything you could think of is needed. So you can be the spark that we need to get things going. So think about what you want. Think about what's needed. Yes, we need a grocery store. Yes, we need gas stations. We don't even have a fast food restaurant. But what can you do to help? As a teenager, you guys have so much creativity that, I mean, you guys could help us understand what's needed and then push us to make sure that we try to fit the needs for you guys. Um, as as a as the president of Men of Power, Women of Strength, we are working hard to try to bring more things into this environment, but we also know that you guys are our future. So we want to make sure that you're included in most of the decisions that we're making. So please reach out to us. Let us know what you're thinking, what you need. It would motivate us to push further, but we also want to motivate you guys because you're going to be our future business owners, future educators, and you're going to lead us into a great future.
And I'll just add on by saying, don't be afraid to start something yourself. You know, there's some things, like I said, you guys have the internet at the tip of your fingers. You can come up, if you're an actor or you like singing or anything like that, you can get 3 or 4 people together and get some beats offline and start singing together. If you want to do some acting, start getting some people together and do some skits. There's a lot of things that you can do on your own, and then people will take notice to what you're doing and get involved. And then again, when we are having programming, when there is things available, when we are asking for participants, make sure you participate. Because if you're not participating, then the people who are going out of their way, taking their time, a lot of times they're taking money out of their own pocket to produce certain things in small areas like Cairo and Mound City, Pulaski, this small tri-state. Show up and show up, act crazy. Be respectful so that they want to come back and do more. And that would be my take on it.
Well, I just want to add a tidbit to that. I had a young man on one of our virtual summits, and he said something that rang so true to me. He said, we're taught to go to college to get a good job, but we're never taught to be the good job. So if you're not interested in college, that might be another avenue to take about starting your own business. I wish I would have had that mindset years ago, and I'd probably be sitting on 2, 3 businesses right now. But my mindset was I had to get those letters behind my name. It's nothing wrong with getting those letters behind your name, but it's something even better if the Black community, especially, is going to rise like that, like we already are. We have to start having our own, and that means our own businesses. We need to have our teachers that look like us. We need to have doctors and nurses that look like us. We have to be the change that everybody is looking for, especially the young people. So if you're not interested in college, that's a good start. Cairo is an excellent place to start a new business at. There are all types of loans and grants out here. If that's something you're interested, that's something that we do look at here. We have a Black Tuesday business page on Facebook. I put up information about grants on there. And we have information about starting a business, and we can even do a virtual summit about it. That's what we're here for. We're here to brighten your future. So please don't hesitate to reach out to Carbondale United or Men of Power, Women of Strength. It's so many other facilities. It's the library that's under us. Women's Center is under us. Connect 360. It's many groups, lots of people in lots of different fields that have multiple information that can help you. So like I said, please don't hesitate to reach out because we're ready to reach back.
And just to add to what Miss Nancy said, don't allow anybody to make you feel bad because you choose to go a different route or a different road. I know personally, I've seen people tell kids they're not going to be anything if they don't go to college. Working where I work, we've rewritten a lot of job descriptions because now in this economy, nobody wants to pay anybody for a master's degree. We just feel like you are overachiever, and I'm just being honest. So we rewrite the job for a lower pay. And then when you look up 2 or 3 years, especially this next generation, they're not staying at jobs for 20 years. I don't have 20 years in me to give to the federal government. So don't allow somebody else to make you feel bad because you choose a different route.
Ooh, and I want to add on that. I didn't get my degree till I was almost 50 years old, but it never stopped me from having a good job. You have to be the person that can go in there and sell yourself. You have to be the person that does research on this company and go in there and really work with these people in the interview. I got every job I ever had with this high school diploma. Well, no, I'm sorry, with this GED. So, but I was determined to have that. My fear was going to school. But now I've even overcome that fear and went back and got my degree. But you don't have to have a degree to get a good job. I have a son that works on the boats, on the barges. He makes $80,000 a year with his high school diploma, more than I make with all my college degrees. So college is not always the answer for everyone, like Miss Dominique said. But just to know, whatever you decide to do, you can do it. You can go to college, you can start a business, or you can find a trade that pays very well.
Hey, Miss Nancy, Chase just wanted me to put it out there that the state of Illinois, in order to be a prison guard, all you need is a high school diploma and to be 18 years of age, and they start off making $60,000 a year.
Very good, Dominique. That's my point. It depends on what you do and what you're motivated to do and what you're willing. And like Mr. Davis said, with that power, take that power and you can be and go anywhere. Don't ever let somebody tell you what you can't do. Because, statistically, being a teenage mother, being a dropout, that I was supposed to be sitting at a crack house right now, okay? Statistically, that's what they predict. I'm a young black mother. I got two kids. I don't have a high school diploma. Statistically, I wasn't supposed to be where I'm at now. But you can always beat those numbers. All you have to do is reach out for help. Like I said, this group, and it's a whole bunch more of us, we're here to build that village. I believe that sincerely. It takes a village to raise a child. If you need help, please reach out to this village.
And something real quick I like to add to that is don't be afraid to start at the bottom. You have to start where you have to start what you know, and you don't know anything. So you have to get experience. So going in, don't be afraid to wash dishes, to sweep the floor, but go in with the attitude that one day I'm going to own the business. I'll start my own business, but you have to start somewhere. So step out on faith and start at the bottom and work your way up. Don't worry about what they call you. You could be the best dishwasher in the whole restaurant. Before you know it, you'll own the restaurant. So keep the mentality that it's not where you start, it's where you end up.
Well, I've enjoyed this conversation, guys, and I do hope we can do this again. Um, Nancy, is there anything you'd like to say to close us out?
Yes, as soon as they put the slide up. I want to thank everybody for joining us. This was so awesome, even to me. So I hope it was awesome to you. I want to thank our event co-sponsors, Men of Power, Women of Strength, Carbondale Public Library, African American Museum of Southern Illinois, the Women's Center, Soul El Unity Coalition, and most of all, I want to thank the Healing Illinois Grant, which has provided us with funding so we can do so much in these last 3 months. Um, I want to thank our panel, and thanks to our backstage volunteers, Yolanda Dean, Diana Brawley Sussman, and Liz Hartman. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, Nancy Maxwell, Carbondale United Director at Carbondale United 15 at gmail.com. Until the next time.